All right, y'all. I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama. It's hot out here. And speaking of that, we are going to do a 5-minute chicken tip video, and we're going to talk about some things that I'm doing for the plants in the chicken run, to kind of give you guys just some other content, some things to think about, and what I'm doing to help my plants thrive and the chickens stay cool here in the summer. So I'm going to stand over here. It's already hot. It's April in South Central Texas. We're already hitting the mid to high 80s. So I've had these plants in the ground for quite a few years, and I'm kind of changing the way that I'm maintaining my plants out here this summer. And I kind of wanted to just tell you my philosophy and give you some ideas. I love, like, this is one of my passions because I love my chickens and I love plants, and you can marry them together, like if you have some certain things in mind. So I'm not going to go into detail about like the plants that I pick or like how I put them in the ground. I do have a whole playlist called Chickens in Your Garden, where it's not just about plants, it's about like how I utilize plants out here in the chicken run, because of course chickens are never going to be able to keep grass. They're going to kill it. They're going to dig it up. They're going to eat it very quickly unless you've got like acreage. So if you're like me and you're like, you know, in a typical, I'm going to pan around a little bit, like in a typical neighborhood, and you want to have chickens, like nobody wants to just live like in a dirt rock wasteland. So but here's the deal, and you can get started on this now. Unfortunately, most of the plants that I'm going to talk about have been in the ground for 3 years or 4 years. So with that being said, they're already established. So now my goals with the plants in here get to kind of shift. And what I mean is, if you're familiar with putting plants in the ground, you know that it takes like probably a good year or two. And we're talking mostly like bushes, trees, perennials. I'm not talking about daisies and sunflowers and carrots and things that only live like a season or a year. I'm talking about perennials. But you know that they're going to be a lot more sensitive. They're going to be a lot more high maintenance. They need you to water them more often and all of that junk for the first year or two. Okay, so for me, that was like the short-term landscaping goal here in the chicken run, is I just wanted to get plants. I wanted to make sure the chickens wouldn't kill them. You have to water them deeply. You have to cover them in the freezes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, to be honest, the plants who are out here now, I don't baby them anymore. I maybe water them once a week in the summer, but I'm not I honestly didn't cover anybody during the freezes or anything. And it's just like, look, at this point, your roots need to get really deep in the ground because you're either going to live or you're not, and I can't baby you anymore. And I'll say also, as I try to not get my hair caught in the bird netting, but usually for most plants, trees, shrubs, their root system is symmetrical under the ground to what the canopy looks like here. So if my lilac is 10 feet tall, she's at least 10 feet tall, she might be more than that, then in theory, her roots are 10 feet deep. Okay, so if you keep that in mind, now that these plants are established, and maybe you've got like, even if it's rose bushes or something, established in your chicken run, what I did now is, so I had big stones all the way around the plants to keep the root system protected from the chickens, right? Give the roots a head start, give them time to get down deep, to get strong, to stabilize the plant. And I mean, you can tell this lilac, the chickens are not going to be able to kill this lilac, right? Like at this point, she is totally fine. I don't have to baby her anymore. So what I did is I moved, I don't know, I'm going to try to zoom in and see if you can see. There's a big old rock in the middle of your shot. And there's all these big old pavers, like chunks of concrete, bricks, like just kinds of like flagstone, all kinds of random stuff that was on this property when we moved. So I was using it as like a skirt underneath to protect the root ball. Now that those roots are down deep, and I don't have to worry if my chickens dig down 2 inches, it's not going to kill this tree. What I'm doing now is moving all of that out of the way, putting either dirt or mulch or something all around the bottom, the base of these plants, and then I'm spraying it down with water. And what's happening is, you can see my chickens right there, they can hide under the plant, and the temperature will be like literally between like 8 and 12 degrees cooler there than it is over here, like just a couple of feet away. The other thing is, now that I can move those rocks and stuff out of the way, I'm encouraging even more for there to be worms, for there to be bugs and things like that. So I'm really, really excited, and I'm going to walk around a little bit. I'm trying to not show my own shadow like a newbie, but you can see, what is it, Lenore? She's purring, she hears something. There's that flagstone there underneath that thralis. I'm gonna go move that out of the way. All these big pavers, you see some of them just hanging around here. Let me see if I can walk this way. So now I'm getting to use those rocks that had been around the plants. Now I'm using them around the coop to keep the rats next door in my hoarder neighbor's rat nest from coming over here. I can move all of the rocks out of the way. And then if I prune these up just a little bit, you know, like just a foot off the ground, let me see if I can bend down over here and you can see what I mean. So this is a Silverado sage here in front of you. See how I kind of made that little gap there? Those perfect little hiding spots? That's going to be really nice. And all I have to do is spray it down for a second. I don't deep water that guy. He does not care. If I literally never supplemented with water for this plant, he would be totally fine. Like, he does not care. And so now I've created like these nice little oases, or like these little havens underneath some of these big old plants. And all you have to do is spray it down with water and get the rocks out of the way. And it will be significantly cooler. It's going to encourage even more bugs and things like that. So it's really fun that, you know, and I'm proud of myself for doing the work a couple of years ago, putting these guys in the ground and protecting them, babying them, nurturing them, again, from freezes, from the heat, from the chickens. But now that they are safe and they're good to go, I don't have to protect them and baby them anymore, as I try to stumble back over here. And now it's going to be even better for my chickens. Now you can see this other video I did here that's going to be all about, you know, different ways that I'm trying to keep the coop cool. I'm going to pan over and show you with that fan that's in the window, with the insulation. I don't know how well you can see it on the roof, to help with those things. But the chickens aren't going to hang in the chicken coop during the day unless they're laying an egg. So they spend their days out here, right, Gurney? They spend their days out here keeping cool. And I'm going to be setting up their tarps, the shade tarps, throughout part of this property here next week. I'm bringing the misters back out, and you can see me talking about misters here, but it's not to like soak anything. It's not to like, I'm going to deep water the plants at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's not smart. It's literally get the ground wet, literally run the misters for 2 or 3 minutes and stop. And all it's doing is it's just wetting the ground over here so the chickens can dig in it, they can lay in it, they can just have their feet on it. And that, you know, it's like a radiator. It will cool their entire system because it's cooling the blood in their feet. So hopefully if you've got some plants, or you're thinking about doing plants, that's something for you to keep in mind. Certainly if you've just put baby plants in the ground, they do need to be protected. Again, you can see my videos in that Chickens in Your Garden playlist, either putting the rocks around the bottom, big old stones that the chickens can't move, or, you know, putting like a wire cage around them so they're like, you know, protected. But certainly once the plants get established, it's so nice, because I feel like my stress level on, you know, are my chickens going to die from the heat? Are they going to, you know, get heat stroke and all of those things? This is really, really helping me out. And honestly, if we end up selling this house in the next couple of years, all of these plants that are here is going to be a selling point too, because then we can just make this area, if we take the coop out of here, I'm going to come around. If we take the coop out of here, as we've got our chickens, you know, and we're planning to list the house and to move, turn this into like a cute seating area with patio furniture, and we've got all these beautiful plants. There's like blossoming grapevines over there. They've got grapes that are coming. You know, there's all kinds of stuff all the way around. So I hope that kind of gave you some things to think about. Don't be afraid about trying to put in plants with your chickens. You have to be smart and you have to do some planning, but it is definitely worth it. And I think it really increases their enjoyment and their quality of life. So I hope that gave you some good ideas. As always, my email is down in the video description, and you can throw questions down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.